Chapter 9. Life with a Friend. I made a place for Friday to sleep between the two fences around my house so that he could not attack me during the night. However, this was not necessary, for Friday was the most faithful servant you could imagine. He was also a very good student and quickly learned everything that I taught him. Soon he was able to use some English words. It took him a long time to understand what a gun was and stop being afraid of it. I had to shoot several animals and birds before he stopped running away. I cooked some goat meat for him, and he enjoyed eating it. The next day, I showed him how to help me make bread from corn. Then I realized I would need more corn because there were now 2 people to feed. I taught him how to dig the ground and prepare it for planting. He worked very hard and was always obedient. This was the best year that I spent on the island. Friday began to speak more English, and we talked about his country. I also asked him about the voyages they made across the sea, and I discovered where we were. The land I could see from the other side of the island was Trinidad. He told me that he knew about white men living a long way away. I could get there in a large canoe. I told him about my life on the island. I described England to him. Then he told me about a boat that came to their country one day with 17 white men in it. They lived with the savages there. I realized that they must have come from the ship that was wrecked near my island. "Why did you not eat them?" I asked. "We only eat men after we win a war against them," he answered. I took him to the top of the hill, from where I saw the land. He was very excited. "There is my country," he said. Perhaps he wanted to go back to his own people. He said he would not go there unless I went with him. I showed him my canoe on the other side of the island. We sailed in it, but he said it was too small to go across the sea to his country. Then I showed him the big boat I had made over 20 years ago, but could not get to the water. He said it was big enough, but it was broken and rotten. I told him we would make another one so that he could go back to his people. He was very upset. He gave me an axe. "Kill me," he said, "but do not send me away. I will stay with you always." Now I knew that he would always be my friend. "I will go with you," I said. I wanted to see the 17 white men and perhaps return to England. Friday chose a tree, and we cut it down. It took about 1 month to make the large canoe. It took another 2 weeks to get it to the water. Then I made a mast and some sails for it, as well as a rudder. This took another 2 months. Then I taught Friday how to sail. He was very good at it. Then the rainy season started, and we had to wait for better weather. I began to get things ready. I put some food in the new boat. It would be enough to feed both of us for over 2 weeks. One morning, I sent Friday to get some turtles from the beach. He came back, running very quickly. "Master, master, 3 canoes!" He was very frightened and ran straight into the house to hide. I told him not to worry and gave him some rum to make him brave. We agreed to fight the savages. From the hill, I could see 21 of them and 3 prisoners. I gave Friday some guns and a sword. "Follow me. Don't speak or shoot until I tell you," I said. The trees grew quite close to the beach where the savages were. They had a fire and were already eating one of their prisoners. A white man was lying on the ground. His hands and feet were tied. We came close to them, staying hidden in the trees. They were untying the white man when I ordered Friday to shoot. We killed 3 of them and wounded 5 more. The others did not know where to run. They could not understand what had happened because they had never seen or heard guns before. They heard loud noises and saw some of their people fall down dead. They were very frightened. We picked up our other guns and fired again. 2 more were killed, and many of them were wounded. Then we ran out and shouted loudly at the savages. Some of them got into one of the canoes, but Friday shot at them and killed a few. I ran to the white man and cut his ropes with a knife. He was very weak. I gave him some rum and bread. He told me he was Spanish. I gave him a gun and a sword. He immediately ran at the savages and cut 2 of them into pieces with the sword. I reloaded the guns while Friday and the Spaniard fought the savages. One was about to kill the Spaniard with a sharp wooden sword, but the Spaniard shot and killed him. In the end, we killed all of them except 4. They escaped in a canoe. The Spaniard was so tired that he had to lie down. Friday wanted to chase them in one of the other canoes, and I agreed. We jumped into one of the other canoes, but there we found another man tied up, ready to be cooked and eaten. I untied him and called Friday to come and talk to him. When Friday saw him, he kissed and hugged him, and cried and laughed and jumped and danced, and sang and cried again. It took a long time before he could tell me that this man was his father. I had never seen 2 men as happy as they were. It was too late now to chase the canoe because it was almost out of sight. I was pleased that we did not go after them, however, because an hour later there was a storm, and we would all have drowned. Friday ran off to the house and brought water for his father and the Spaniard. He also brought bread and raisins for them. They were very weak. Their bodies were so sore that they could not even walk. We had to carry them to a canoe and brought them to the beach near my seaside house. Their extremely sore feet were black and blue from being tied up. We gently picked them up from the canoe and carried them into the house. We made beds for them using straw and blankets.